Well, here we are. Part 2 of the 10 best episodes of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. You know, we had a lot of laughs over the years. I mean, a lot of laughs. But if there's one thing that isn't funny, it's episodes that are underwhelming or just plain bad. Luckily for this show, there aren't many, but they are notable. So before we start the video off proper, here's a list of the top 5 least favorite episodes of the show. And once that's done, sit back, relax, and buckle up. Number 5. Sweet and Elite, Season 2, Episode 9. While I make it no secret that Applejack is my favorite of the main 6, Rarity, who's my second favorite, consistently has the best episodes of the show. But of all the episodes, this is hands down my favorite one. This episode places Rarity in an interesting light, showcasing her desire to become a part of the Fancy Pants Canterlot elite. An elite so fancy pants that there's actually a pony named Fancy Pants. While she has commitments to her friends, she can't help but take every opportunity she can to hang out with these ponies, out of the hope that maybe one day she could be part of high society as well. One of the things I loved about this episode is that at no point Rarity ever becomes unlikable. Even as she neglects her commitments to her friends, especially Twilight, who she promised to make a dress for, I understood and even sympathized with her problem. Since she was established as a pony who longed to be part of this society, this episode and conflict was natural progression for her character. This was also the moment where I decided that Rarity was going to be my second favorite of the main 6. At the climax, when she's given the choice between high society or her friends, she chooses her friends. And that moment makes me smile every time, because it shows to me that when it comes right down to it, she'll choose her friends above everything else. That is what makes Rarity so great. Though she may have her moments where she seems shallow or only cares about herself, underneath all of that is a heart of pure gold. You know what else is great about this episode? Fancy Pants. He's so cool! I initially thought he was just gonna be all high class, and when he found out Rarity's origins, he would dismiss her. But then at the end, he's all like, "Rarity, I must say, you're still awesome in my book." Called me. I did not expect that at all. It's things like that, along with the good humor, the good pacing, and the great story, that makes this episode my pick for the number 5 spot. Number 4. Crusaders of the Lost Mark, Season 5, Episode 18. I also like to call this episode How to Make Me Feel Sympathy for an Antagonist in 2 minutes or less, because that's exactly what this episode did with the character Diamond Tiara. From the beginning of the series, I had nothing but annoyance for Diamond Tiara, writing her off as a 2-dimensional bully character for the Crusaders to overcome. So imagine my surprise when I find out that 90% of this episode is about Diamond's redemption. The narrator paints her as a tragic, sympathetic character who was only looking for approval from her parents, but more importantly, her overbearing mother. I knew this episode was going to be a good one when her song started pulling at my heartstrings, but then I realized this was going to be a great one when she started singing with the Crusaders. Especially this part.
We know you want friends who admire you. You wanna be the star with all the power too. But there's a better way. There's a better way.
At that point, there was a big ass lump in my throat and I started crying my eyes out. But then again, I'm a big fat softie and I cry at everything that I find slightly emotional. But I mean, only in things that I have emotional investment in. I mean, I don't cry at everything like Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey. Blah. But still, nothing could prepare me for the last 5 minutes of this episode. If it just ended with Diamond's redemption and everyone being happy, I would have been like, oh, that was really good, and I would put this in the top 10. But then... when they got their cutie marks, I was just done. And then when this happened...
if Mom and Dad were here, they'd be so proud of you.
I was even more done. And then this happened.
I'm so proud of you, little buddy.
And then this happened.
You've inspired every pony around you.
And then this happened.
We started out just great, Crusaders driven to see what we find in our hearts, discover our destiny.
I was not prepared for any of this. And keep in mind, at this point in time, I was working. So imagine me going to work crying my eyes out because the Cutie Mark Crusaders actually got their cutie marks in the latest episode. I was in that much of a wreck. This was the point where the episode went from great to pure masterpiece. And no matter how many times I watch it, I always cry. It's that freaking good. And if you don't like it, you are a monster. And that is why it's at the number 4 spot. Number 3.
This day is going to be perfect.
A Canterlot Wedding, Season 2, Episodes 25 and 26. Of all the episodes in the top 10 of this list, this was the one that caught me off guard the most. With a title like A Canterlot Wedding, I thought this was just going to be a typical wedding episode, one that was unusually 2 parts long, but a wedding episode nonetheless. So imagine my surprise when I found out that this episode is actually one of the darkest of the series, taking what could have been a cute little wedding adventure and using it as a vehicle to introduce one of its more powerful threats. Yes, I am talking about the one, the only, Queen Chrysalis. While she doesn't make a formal appearance until the last 10 minutes of part 2, her presence is always felt, due to taking on the appearance of Princess Cadence. Her behavior during part 1 was always interesting to me, as she presented a good mystery. It left me wondering who exactly she was. Of course, when she finally revealed herself, I may have had an unintended reaction. Whoa, waifu! Okay, not really that, but she definitely was the most interesting character in the episode, due to her powers, which are pretty twisted. I mean, taking something pure like the power of love and using it for your own dark deeds, yeah, that's pretty messed up. But that's exactly why she's so interesting and actually kind of compelling. However, having a great villain isn't the only reason why this takes the number 3 spot. What also makes it work is its story and characters. You're with Twilight every step of the way, so you know something is off, but at the same time you understand where her friends are coming from, due to Twilight's angry attitude at the beginning. So even when I was frustrated, I also understood, which makes the moment of them joining forces to fight the changelings that much more satisfying. Speaking of which, for a show that usually doesn't do action sequences, that was an extremely well done fight. So pair that up with great songs including a fantastic villain number, and a satisfying but open ending for future installments with the Queen. And we got an episode that for a while was my favorite of the series. But then the next 2 episodes of the series showed up, and that is why A Canterlot Wedding takes the number 3 spot.
Mine, all mine.
Number 2.
A guitar? For me? But I don't know how to play.
Quiet, you.
The Perfect Pair, Season 7, Episode 13. When I found out that My Little Pony was going to tackle the subject of Applejack's parents, I knew we were going to be in for something special. The mystery of what happened to her parents has always been discussed among the fan base, and the show throughout the seasons has always dropped the hints that they were gone. But what makes the episode so effective is that it isn't about their deaths, but it's about their lives and how they lived them before the Apple children were born. It's a celebration of who they were, rather than reminding you where they are now. The basic story is a take on the Romeo and Juliet classic, but it deprives you of the tragic ending, which only makes it that much more powerful. You don't know how they died, you just know that they're gone. Their romance leads to a lot of really fun and cute moments, such as when he accidentally sneezes flowers on her, and when they dance together without actually dancing together. It's such a visually striking moment that showcases what their relationship was like, and the underlying knowledge that they're dead brings a sense of melancholy to each and every scene of the episode. Knowing that this is going to be the only time we're ever going to see the Apple parents made me mourn for them, which is weird to say about 2 fictional characters, but that's exactly what I was feeling. I knew they were gone, but I didn't want them to go. And that's exactly why this episode was so fantastic. Not only is the plotting really good, but also the voice acting is flawless, including a near unrecognizable William Shatner playing Pearbutter's father. Hearing the regret and grief in his voice, knowing that he can't apologize to his daughter, made for an extremely emotional moment. Honestly, there's really nothing more I can say about this. I could go on and on about many brilliant moments in this episode, about the themes of love, grief, forgiveness, sadness, and remembrance. Just know that though it may not be number 1, it is still in every way
Falling in love with you.
perfect. Number 1.
Muffin?
Slice of Life, Season 5, Episode 9. Think of this like the 22 Tales of Springfield episode in The Simpsons, only replace the Simpsons characters with My Little Pony characters. And you pretty much have the basis for Slice of Life. And since 22 Tales of Springfield is one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons, Slice of Life is my absolute favorite episode of My Little Pony. While fame and misfortune can be seen as a condemnation of the fanbase, Slice of Life serves as a celebration of it, giving a majority of fan favorite ponies some significant screen time, leading to a lot of fun and memorable moments, such as Vinyl and Octavia's jam session becoming chaotic, Luna and Celestia bickering which may have planted the the seas for a royal problem, and an internal monologue by Gummy. And who can forget the subplot of Dr. Hooves trying to get his tux fixed, only to run into the pony versions of the Big Lebowski characters. There's a lot of love poured into each and every scene of this episode, and it's hard not to imagine M.A. Larson cackling every time he wrote a scene, especially the scene with Lyra and Bon Bon, in which you find out that Bon Bon is actually a secret agent named Sweetie Drops, while Lyra looks super confused in the process. Every time the episode pokes fun at itself, I always get a laugh, such as Sweetie Belle saying,
Maybe it's just a friendship problem, and it'll all be cleared up in a half an hour or so.
and Lyra saying,
But the lunches, the long talks, the benches we've sat on.
almost every line hits their mark. And even if I'm not a fan of something like Stephen Magnet, it's still really cool that it was put in there anyway. Of course, there is another reason why this episode is number one, a reason that I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, are very familiar with. So I'm gonna break it down as best I can. Derpy. Derpy, 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 derpy. Derpy is the derpy, that ever derpiest is the derpy. Derpy, 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 muffins, derpy, 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 more muffins, derpy, 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 ditsy do, derpy, 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 derpy. And let's not forget, derpy, 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 derpy waifu. And in closing, derpy, 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 derpy. So overall, derpy, 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 derpy of derpy is best derpy of derpy.
Something like that might work.
Derpy. Well, thanks for watching my list of the top 10 best episodes. Hope you had a good time watching, and see you next time. Derpy!